And welcome back. This is your Sunday premier political show. No other station does it more than we can or better than us. And this is the reason why this morning we are having the best brains on television this morning. Willie Sotieno, Javas Bigambo, Zaki Nuthia, and of course, Fred Okang. We're speaking about matters the country. Kenya is our business, and anything happening here must be discussed on this table. Now, this morning, one of the issues we are picking is the seeming rift in the Kenya Kwanza government. And Rigathi Gachagua is pulling away. President William Ruto is quiet, but his people are speaking, and they're speaking very loud. They're even mooting an impeachment motion that could be tabled straight after the budget or the budget estimates is discussed on the floor of the National Assembly. But away from that, let's bring the conversation back here, because he spoke yesterday loud and clear. We'll be looking at what the new week portends in light of these conversations that were had yesterday. But let me bring Javas. Javas, you take on Rigathi Gachagua speaking and him not seemingly pulling away, but actually pulling away from the presidency.
Well, the political plates tectonics already have shifted. Any schooled eye can see that it is now a clear resolve that the fight is on. And the pendulum movement within government and within Kenya Kwanza, of course, we celebrate the liberal democratic space that we have. Article 38 provides for all these political rights, and Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has got the right to engage in the politics of the day. However, when you examine the import of the sentiments yesterday, it is a little unbecoming when, for instance, there's the issue of the mentioning of the personal assistants, the issue of the bloggers within government, of course. And remember that, in a way, it offends the durable character of the Constitution, as provided that Deputy President, of course, is the principal advisor to the President. Now, with this toing and froing of words for the past close to 2 months or so, itself, therefore, demonstrates that chances are he is a bit, or he may be incapable to advise the President if at all he's fighting him. Because how do you fight somebody that you are advising? Secondly, what do we Kenyans want? What kind of government do we want? We want a progressive government, peaceful government. People are still reeling in the challenges of the economic times that we are in. But look at the ethnic messianism that already is at play in the sentiments of the Deputy President. Of course, he's said that he's being fought. Now, who is fighting the Deputy President? He has not given clarity on that. Who is fighting him? Is it CSS in cabinet? Is it the personal assistants to the President? But the moment he's mentioning these names, he's already touching the raw nerve. He's touching on the President himself. And remember that the President and Deputy President are supposed to work together. This is the presidency. Now, we look back in retrospect to the politics of Jubilee's second term. Remember that those 5 years of the rocking of the boat, etc., have been issues that today are now getting to be replayed in the sentiments or the fight within UDA or Kenya Kwanza. Secondly, is it that Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has a problem with Raila Odinga? Because he said that they fought Uhuru Kenyatta, former president, because of the camaraderie between himself and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Mm-hmm. And now he said that now we are seeing President William Ruto engaging with former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Is it a problem for President William Ruto to engage with the statesman that Raila Odinga is? No, it's not. And so, if Deputy President has got a problem with Raila Odinga, then it should be clear. But I think it is honorable for President William Ruto to engage with the person of Raila Odinga, the statesman that he is. Remember that we are sending him, or we are campaigning to send him to Addis. Now, we respect the critical political contribution of Raila Odinga in Kenya's politics and its history. Raila Odinga is a very honorable man. And I think when we send him to Addis and we pray that he succeeds to become the African Union Commission chair, we as a country, we as East Africa, will be proud of a contribution on that continental stage. And so I think it is not really proper for this kind of war of words between president and emanating from the deputy president. Secondly, when he was seeing off the president at the airport the other day, was it a goodwill? Because how would you wish somebody's safe journey traveling, and then the moment the president has departed, then you start airborne. You start fighting him, and so it offends the character of good governance as we desire in our country.
Kinuthia, is the mountain listening to their son regarding Gachagua?
Thank you. And first of all, I want to associate myself with his comment, which is what I think this show should carry if it ends now. That the difference between Ruto and Gachagua is personal. Okay? And I really would want Kenyans to know this. The rural peasants in Kalenjin land and the rural peasants in Mount Kenya do not know and have no idea what is happening.
I have no idea what's happening.
They're even wondering, Allah, what is it? They can only listen to the sentiments coming through their leaders. And who is speaking? If the president's PA speaks in Wasingishu, it means nothing. If the bloggers of president in Mount Kenya speak, it means nothing. But when the deputy president roars and speaks with bitterness and elevated voice, threatening some sections of government agencies, now it will start to mean something. And people will start now wondering what exactly is happening. And if you have been keen, you would see that deputy president is using governor of Nyeri County. And the governor of Nyeri County is notorious for being, having no interest outside Nyeri County, having not been able to even know Nairobi roads. So he has no way of understanding issue in a better manner. And let me put it this way. No, I have to say this here.
We cannot qualify that.
Okay, it is my opinion.
Yes.
Because he's the one he's using to spite and to start to make Mount Kenya people think that there's a problem. But if you ask a man from Meru, a woman from Embu, a young man from Bere, and you come all the way to central Kenya, my mother doesn't know exactly what is happening. If you ask them, Nini mbaya inifanyika, there's nothing fundamental. And he has put some point here. Had Gachagua come to Mount Kenya people to say, hey guys, I was given responsibility of reviving coffee. I had been given responsibility of ensuring tea prices are better. I was told to ensure that the milk prices are fed better. I was also told to fight alcoholism in Mount Kenya. But the president has sabotaged me by not giving me the equal budget, has sabotaged me by allowing importation of ethanol. He has sabotaged me by XYZ. Now, Mount Kenya people would say, okay.
This is the source of the problem.
You know, if he was coming to say, this finance bill 2023 was not good. And you remember, my people, now this is Gachagua speaking. Remember, I told you our people did not read. So I told the president the next one we are not going to pass without reading. So I have read through this. I have called my MPs in Mount Kenya, and we have looked at the clauses inside here, and they are anti-people. So I have told the president, we are not going to pass this. Then the president has told me, if you don't pass, utaona cha mtemakuni. That way, the deputy president will be understood as to be speaking of greater issues than what is personal. Do you know what is happening inside this? It is personal. I know, and it is very clear, that one, he has been restricted from accessing military planes and choppers. That is one of his problems first.
He has said it. He's never hidden that fact.
Yes, so I'm just saying what he has said, so that we are not told that we're speaking things we are thinking. One, the chopper is a problem. Number two, the budget that was rationalized with Mudavadi's office took him by surprise. And I can say it here. I mean, even if I have to be taken to court, we have the pinky-ponky lawyer here. He can represent me if I'm taken to court, my senior.
I will.
The problem here is that the deputy president is going bonker for having asked the state to increase his slash fund from the current 400 million to $1 billion. And now the state was asking, 1 billion for slash fund. You already have 400 for your activities and movement. Now you want $1 billion for doing what? So when it was restricted by the Budget and Appropriations Committee, he went bonker. What I'm trying to say here, and I want our Kenyans to hear this, there is nothing warranting tensions. There is nothing warranting near violence that they were speaking in Nyeri yesterday. There is really no differences that should make Kenya start sinking. There is nothing that should make us hate each other. But the unfortunate consequences of what the Deputy President is doing is that the people who come from Rift Valley, who already watches the events that are happening in Mount Kenya, led by the senior most leader there, will start getting spiteful about Mount Kenya people who are also living in Rift Valley. And this is my warning to the Deputy President. And I've been telling him in my language, Kikuyu, that if you do this, you might think that you are trying to re-establish yourself back to where you are. You might think you are trying to ask the president to give you more space and power. But what our people will interpret in Rift Valley is that Kikuyus have started fighting Kalenjin, and that the president has been disturbed by the man he helped. What is going to happen to the rural folks? They are going to start becoming bitter against each other, and they are going to be spiteful against each other. So, in the defense of the Republic, Bwana Mijungu, in the defense of the Republic, I pray that the Deputy President cease and desist from making these ethnic slurs that might inflame and also, make
but don't you think
things go bad.
Kenyans are cleverer and more progressive even in terms of their thinking than they were?
That's what we thought. Until Tanga
What do you
happened.
mean?
Yeah, no, that's what we thought.
Kenyans,
Actually,
the voters, forget about the leaders.
that's what I'm
the
saying.
Voters, yes.
I thought the voters were able to see beyond what they are being told until they voted the UDA government.
Okay. Willis, what will it take? I know they are mooting. I saw Moses Kuria, that's his Twitter account, talking about impeachment loading. Then there was several responses, right? Including people who are cautioning them against using the opposition. Edwin Sifuna, now he's the Secretary of the Political Affairs, Azimio, they are talking. What will it take to take this to Parliament, to begin a process of impeaching
the first
Deputy
step is
President?
that anybody who desires to impeach must identify grounds to impeach Gachagua. So once you identify that sufficient grounds that meet the threshold for impeachment, then you must get support of around 116 members of Parliament to support that motion. Then it goes before the Assembly for a vote, and that vote will require 2/3 of the members. 232. And that comes to 32 members. Then once the Assembly passes it, it goes to the Senate for a further consideration. And the final impeachment is done at the Senate, which also must be on 2/3 of the county delegations, not the senators, but county delegation. That is 2/3 of 47 members of the Senate. But let me say this. The impeachment of Gachagua is long overdue. He has an acerbic tongue. And that acerbic tongue has been used over and over to divide Kenyans. Right now, we're in the middle of a very serious fight. In fact, in the history of this nation, Kenyans have never discussed their finance bill and their taxation like they're doing today. Now, Gachagua cannot come up with his acerbic tongue to start dividing us, to try to find a way to distract us from this conversation. The conversation Kenyans are having today is that we are going to reject the finance bill in totality next week.
Is it possible?
When it is being... No, the people of Kenya will speak. And whichever Kwanza MPs have been bought to pass that finance bill, they will do it. They've received the message on their phones. We are now going to target their families. We'll send messages to their wives, their spouses, their mothers, their children. They will all pass the message to them that Kenyans in their numbers have rejected this finance bill. Let them vote the way they want. Those numbers of their wives, their girlfriends, their mothers, their children, they are the ones who gave them to us when they were campaigning, when they put us those WhatsApp groups. Now is the time for us to use those numbers to send a people's message back to them. So when we're in the middle of such a crucial national discourse that is not tribally aligned, it is an issue that is being discussed with equal favor by a Kikuyu, a Luo, a Kalenjin, a Kamba, a Mijikenda, a Kisi. It is one thing that unites all of us irrespective of our tribes. Then Gachagua comes up with a acerbic tongue to start distracting us. That, sijui Mlema alifanya nini. We don't care about Mlema. We are not Mlema. We are mountain, we are Kenyans, we are all united. Your problems with Ruto cannot be used to dissuade us from our cause today.
You still
our cause today.
This is their personal problem.
This is their personal. It's nothing to do with Kenya. Let him join us. If it's about Kenya, because I've looked and I've traveled this country. I've gone to the coast, I've gone to the mountain Kenya region. I've even gone to Rift Valley, was in Geshu Eldoret. And Kenyans are all speaking in one voice that the cost of living here is unbearable. I have CVs in my office of Kalenjins looking for jobs, of Kikuyus looking for jobs, of Luos looking for jobs, of Mijikenda looking for jobs. Not that they are now saying our man is in power, we have all the jobs. No. The Kalenjins are suffering just like the Kikuyu, just like the Luo. So I'm saying we're in a unique situation for the first time in our history. And we should not allow ourselves to be distracted by the acerbic tongue of Gachagua, who is fighting for his own personal comfort, and then try to gaslight us to join a fight that we know nothing about and it's not about us.
It's actually using gaslighting techniques.
Yes.
You're right.
Because,
it's gaslighting.
and you see why is he putting Raila at the top of that fight?
Yeah, why?
What has Raila got to do with Kenya Kwanza?
Is this Uhuru?
Yeah.
Why is he trying to divide?
That's why I asked him specifically.
That is why.
Is the mountain listening?
And you say,
let me answer that. Let me answer
You
that
see,
one. Let me answer that.
and agreeing with Willis, the
Yes.
thing is this. We have not had any sentiment by His Excellency the Deputy President speaking about the finance bill
Yeah, none.
or any issue within.
None.
We have not had any disagreement to do with the bottom-up economic agenda. There is no single problem or issue the Deputy President has indicated, for example, that he's against a particular idea within better being led by President William Ruto. And so it is agreeable from where I sit that these negative messianism and ethnicity, because it's purely ethnocentric politics and drive that is on, which is not proper. Deputy President His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua is the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya.
Not of Nyeri.
We want him to speak for the Pokomo, for the Abaluya, for the Luo, everybody else, including the Kalenjin.
Elder, part of the problem, and you've just taken me right there, part of the problem is the things that the Deputy President has been preaching in the last 2 years. Let me just reduce it to 2 years, or increase it to 2 years, because we really need that time to be longer before this fight. So one of the things that he's been talking about is shareholding, for example. It's a big issue to Kenyans. But I don't want to look at it from his point of view. I want to look at it from Mutahi Kahiga's point of view. The accusation that the Deputy President has been used. I think you gentlemen, you all had this sentiment
said it,
from
yes, many times.
Mutahi Kahiga. He was used. And now they've realized that they were being misused. The only person that can misuse a Deputy President of the Republic can only be two people, according to him. His boss and the people. The people cannot dictate. If bloggers can't dictate to the Deputy President what to do, or the PS, Kenyans can't tell the Deputy President. So that is where the problem lies. When Gachagua speaks, gentlemen, when you see the passion and the emotion he speaks, is that the kind of feeling that the Deputy President has inside?
Let me just ask this question. If by Gachagua's own admission, he is capable of being misused, and he has been misused before, why are you not sure that today he's not being misused? I mean, he's expressed to everybody that he's somebody who cannot make sane decisions. He's somebody who is prone to misuse. Why should you trust such a person?
He was working for his boss.
If he was misused then, where is the comfort that he's not being misused now?
Let me answer that for Uhuru Kenyatta, because you asked a very critical question before I can give it back to Elder.
When Rigathi
Gachagua says he's listening to the ground, he has scored all of them wrong except one. What he has said he has listened to the ground is his own delusion, except one fact.
You guys don't like the deputy.
No. You don't have to like him. You don't have to like him.
He will not gaslight us. And he's trying to do the masses.
Of course, we don't have to like him. He's in the office legally. So we don't have to like him. He's there. But he must do what is important. That's what we are discussing here. The Deputy President has said that he's listening to the ground on many issues, all of them wrong except one, which is that the ground in Mount Kenya is missing the former president. And they are waiting for President Uhuru Kenyatta to show them the way. They are expecting him to come and tell them that, my people, I told you last time, you didn't hear. Now, we are going to do X, Y, Z, of which I want to tell Kenyans that the president has made it fundamentally clear that he's not going to do that.
The former president?
Yes, President Kenyatta is not going to be involved in regional politics. He's not going to be involved in ethnic mobilization of his own people, having served as a president. Secondly, he's not going to interfere in the running of the government. If the state is threatened, fundamentally, he will come in, because it is his country. It is our country. But as long as these are differences by two, he used a word that I do not overemphasize, two looters coming on the table. The president former is not involved. But by Gachagua saying, "Munataka niongee na Uhuru Kenyatta tuunganishe wa Kenya," on that one he has had right. because the ground in Mount Kenya is missing their son. So on that one, he's right. But the president and Raila Odinga, former president and Raila Odinga, are not going to be used as kifagio by Gachagua.
And just
I disagree on that
as Okango speaks. You see, Ken,
Yes.
what is self-evident here is that the deputy president is fighting the president.
That's clear.
And he's fighting, if he's doing that, he's fighting the president's agenda. We want to see the deputy president defending the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. He's not doing that. We want to see him, if he's uniting Kenyans, we want to see him hold such kind of mass rallies in Kisumu. We want to see him in Busia. We want to see him in Mombasa. Kenyans do not live in central Kenya.
Yeah.
All Kenyans do not live in central Kenya. We want to see him moving across the country and speaking to the issues of bottom-up economic transformation agenda, which is the president's agenda. Right now, as we go into next week, looking at the presentation of the budget, which is a very critical issue, an economic issue touching every single Kenyan in this country. We have not heard him speak about how this budget is going to make life better, or some issues that Kenyans want to listen. If the deputy president is listening to the ground, I'm wondering whether the ears are working.
He's not heard what Kenyans are saying about this. But this is life for Parliament. I mean, it can't be left to the president.
Just for information,
Then I come to Fred, yeah.
just put in context, just to contextualize that regarding Gachagua is a fraud. He sat in the cabinet meeting that approved the finance bill with all the punitive taxation measures that are therein. He sat in the cabinet meeting that approved the budget that was presented last week by CS Ndung. So on the issue that is causing pain to Kenyans, we know where Rigathi Gachagua stands. He is supporting the oppressor. He is also an oppressor.
But you just said he should support the president's
No,
agenda.
that's what I've said.
And he's
so that the
standing with the
fight,
president.
when he comes out, as Java says, when he comes out to say amnesty to the ground has said, we reject the finance
So they're not
bill.
listening to the ground.
So
We're going
his
to talk about that
ground, his
in a minute.
ground is what Kinobia says. His ground is a different ground, and as he says, maybe his ears have a problem.
I will be playing a bite from a sound bite from Kimani Ichung'wah that can explain more on what's happening on the ground as soon as you have Kimani Ichung'wah in the next hour. But let's conclude this hour with Fred. You saying something?
Ken, I've listened to what my colleagues on this table have said, and I agree with them 100%. There's something that elders said. You know, this Rigathi Gachagua, while we would want to sympathize with him, particularly as from Azimio, we really want to sympathize with him. But you remember his reckless statements earlier, when he said that this is a shareholder's company, and he had put all the traps around State House so that Raila Odinga should not enter State House. Those traps were taken away. The next thing he saw Raila in Entebbe with President Ruto, and that thing angers him. Number two, he ran
Mutai said he's in the bedroom, he's sleeping in the bedroom.
He ran to Uhuru Kenyatta to ask for an apology. What we are asking Rigathi Gachagua to do, while he's apologizing to Uhuru Kenyatta, he must also apologize to Raila Odinga. He called Raila Odinga mtu wa maandamano, mtu wa kitendawili, mchawi. He must apologize. But most importantly, now that he is midway Damascus, he must apologize to the people of Kenya. I really sympathize with him. Rigathi Gachagua has said he has listened to the ground. He has said he only listened to two people. His boss, who is President Uhuru, and the people.
What are the people saying?
President Ruto.
Yes.
And he has said the people of Kenya listens to him, and that's why whatever he's saying is from the people. Today, the people of Kenya have said, reject the Finance Bill 2024 in total. They have said the budget estimates by this regime is a reckless race to the bottom. It is no longer bottom economic whatever. It is a reckless race. It is going to take this country nowhere. We want to see Rigathi Gachagua this Sunday as a truthful man, the day of God.
I'm sure he's in a church
coming
somewhere.
in a church and telling the people of Kenya that the finance bill is not a good bill, must be rejected. That the president, former President Uhuru Kenyatta budget allocation that he was talking about is unfair, they must be reinstated.
Yes.
That the people of Kenya have suffered enough and is willing to go into Kisumu, Homa Bay, Siaya, Kuria, Migori, Kirinyaga, to talk about the same issues of concern to the people. Elder said is the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. But I repeat, we as Azimio, we shall not allow our members of parliament to participate in a contest that we know nothing about. We shall participate in a contest of ensuring that the economic development of this country succeed, a contest that ensures that lower taxes, a contest that ensures that we reject the finance bill. Okay. So regarding Gachagua, as you are in Sunday today, ensure that you speak to the Kenyans, but most importantly, go to where the people are, move away from Mount Kenya, move away from Madeira, go to Nyanza, speak the same thing.
I need to take a break.
On this going to the central, my brother Ken.
Just 30 seconds, you need to take a break.
If the Deputy President is being sabotaged by President's men, so would Mount Kenya be the most ideal place to speak of it, or Rift Valley?
He did Rift Valley 2 weeks ago.
No, yesterday was a slur of violence. Yeah. Should he speak that boldly and angrier in Mount Kenya, or where the people who are supporting the president are coming from? He should be speaking these things in Eldoret, so that the president can tell his people, this man came home to plead to my people's grave. So please stop this sabotage of the Deputy President. But going to central Kenya, he is ethnically mobilizing. I agree with the elder. And this ethnic mobilization may turn out into violence before soon.
Thank you, gentlemen. Straight after President Uhuru Kenyatta complained last week that his statutory entitlement of about $1 billion shillings in 2 years has not been remitted to his office, and they've only received 28 million shillings. The president called and they spoke. I spoke to Kwanza the other day and she confirmed that they spoke. Hussein Mohammed also confirmed that they spoke with a phone and they're sorting this out. I'm just wondering, and when we come back, we'll start with that before we go into the budget and the Kenyans that are planning a staging. Are you guys going for this sit-in in Parliament? Yes.
We shall
Article 1 of the Constitution.
We
are going to exercise our sovereignty directly.
How many people are going to
with the people?
How many people are going to Parliament?
Okay.
So when we
are taking over our Parliament.
And you should come and report from there.
I will be there. I'll be reporting on Tuesday.
Very nice.
We have a whole hour to discuss this. When we come back, we'd like to pick up with the finance bill, the reason why Kenyans are speaking the way they're speaking, what happened last week, which was remarkable from where I sit. Kenyans targeting their members of parliament to tell them, no, you can't do this. There's a lot of other things that have come out of it. I'd like to discuss that. But when we come back, I'd like to talk about this legal entitlement, statutory entitlement. I spoke to Willis, I think. He was on our show on Tuesday, if I'm not wrong. So when we come back, we're going to start with that. But there's a soundbite from Kimani Ichung'wah. I don't know, Joanne, if you take us to a break with that or we come back with it. You don't have it yet. Okay, we'll have it. Stay with us.